We're going to hear from James Creed now for MEDIAWATCH. Good evening, James.
Evening, Melissa.
We've been talking a great deal, of course, about this visit of Francois Hollande to Qatar today to be there for the signing of this deal that we were just talking about with Will. Now, on the internet, on social media, there's been a great deal of criticism of that visit.
That's right. Some degree of criticism of the French president. Just take a look at this tweet, which I think is illustrative of a certain theme that you're seeing on social media, saying, oh, you know, he's a better seller of arms than he is a president, and he's selling to dictatorships. So that sort of thing coming out, people criticising, I suppose, the recipient of these Rafale fighter jets, and also Le Monde chiming in with that criticism, saying that this is actually going to be a very tough deal for Air France. And indeed, it appears that, well, it's speculation, but Le Monde more or less stating it, that as part of the deal, there are going to be extra routes for Qatar Airways opened up in France. They will be able to fly into Nice, amongst other cities, which wasn't the case before. And it seems that Air France will probably lose out as a result of this. So I guess it was a case of the French state weighing up benefits and costs in terms of signing that deal. But Air France, and of course the French state being a 16% shareholder in Air France, making a decision there that isn't perhaps beneficial to the flag carrier. RFI, or sister radio channel, on their website is saying that Francois Hollande is a lot better at selling these French air fighters than Nicolas Sarkozy was. And indeed, since Francois Hollande has come into power, India, Egypt and now Qatar have bought the often beleaguered French fighter jet. So there you go. That's just a taste of some of the criticism of Francois Hollande. There's also criticism, as you can see here in the Nouvel Observateur, of being a normal friend. That's taking his election slogan as a normal president back in when he was going for office in 2012. They're saying he's being very palsy with Saudi Arabia, and in Saudi Arabia there is a degree of support for Sunni terrorist groups. And this article also says that that is somewhat of a contradiction given his fight against Islamic terrorism in Mali and elsewhere. So those contradictions being pointed out on.
Being pointed out, and no doubt will continue tomorrow, since he's now in Saudi Arabia after that trip to Qatar. Now we move on, James, to that surprising about turn for the anti-establishment comedian Russell Brand.
That's right, indeed. He interviewed Ed Miliband on his website. He's Russell Brand, of course, an anti-establishment comedian, and having previously said that you should turn your back on all politicians and never vote, let's take a listen to what he has now said. Just a few days after he interviewed the Labour leader.
What I've learned over this period of time where I've been talking about politics and getting involved since that Paxman interview, since my book, is that we are in a dangerous position in this country. The Conservative Party are planning to further dismantle our community assets, to tear apart the very fabric of our society. That's not something that we can allow to happen simply because people can't be bothered or don't want to vote. What I heard Ed Miliband say is if we speak, he will listen. So on that basis, I think we've got no choice but to take decisive action to end the danger of the Conservative Party.
So there you go.
Quite an endorsement.
Indeed, and especially coming from Russell Brand, who in 2013 gave a very high-profile interview that was shared on YouTube or around the world, where he became the poster boy for anarchism 2013 version, seeing as the interview was about a year and a half ago. Let's take a listen to what he said at the time to Russell Brand, Melissa.
It's not that I'm not voting out of apathy, I'm not voting out of absolute indifference and weariness and exhaustion from the lies, treachery, deceit of the political class that has been going on for generations now, and which has now reached fever pitch, where we have a disenfranchised, disillusioned, despondent underclass that are not being represented by that political system, so voting for it is tacit complicity.
So there you go, quite the about turn. And so either this is going to bring in a lot of the anti-establishment anarchist vote, if you can call it that, for Labour, or Russell Brand is going to gain a new reputation as being not so anti-establishment after all, seeing as he's endorsing one of the
and perhaps he'll be losing followers instead. It'll be interesting to watch which way it goes. Now, it's the 4th of May, which is, of course, Star Wars Day, and social media is celebrating.
That's right. Just a quick look at how this is playing out on social media. This has been going on for a few years, Melissa, and it's May the 4th be with you. This is how it plays out. And it is a whole hashtag. And you get people from around the world Instagramming all sorts of silly images that are reminiscent of the Star Wars trilogy, whatever you'll call it. This is from Turkey. So that's a child being dressed up as Princess Princess Leila, and that is an image from Tokyo. So all sorts of silliness online.
May the 4th. I hadn't realised until you'd explained it. Thank you very much indeed, James Creedon, with a look there at what's making headlines on the internet.